Hi guys, good evening and welcome to Sassy Mommy's YouTube. Okay, so as I said in the previous short where I uploaded, I told I will give you the review probably by this week or by the next week, but luckily I got the time today. So here's the book that I was talking to you about, and this book is it's a Japanese written by a Japanese author, and this book has all the elements of a proper what do you say, a crime emotional drama, because it's high in emotions. Okay, you act for very subtle threat, very subtle threat, and as you read the book, as you keep reading the book, you will find a web of intricate human emotions that sometimes you will find it difficult to fathom. Okay, what are they thinking? What made him do like this? Because as life says, certain things don't have what they will be the right word. They don't have an explanation. It may sound illogical, it may sound irrational, and it may sound even it may sound even quite brash and a rash decision. But when you dissect it into different paragraphs or different scenarios, you definitely will find an intricate web that of interconnectivity that would be very beautifully explained. This book has such type of an interconnectivity, and the author has dealt it with such maturity, precision, and he has given us a tale that not only makes you to sit on the edge of the seat, but it also sympathizes you, make you sympathize with the lead characters who does not necessarily, there's no regular I love yous and all the creamy dreamy and all that stuff, but this book definitely gives you the chills. You can actually feel the respect, the trust, and the love the lead characters have for each other. Even though the female character may be a bit hesitant, the male character has done everything to make sure, for a woman who he just sees, yaar, वो सिर्फ दिखता है, he just sees it. Okay, now I'll reveal you the book of the name. The name of the book is The Devotion of Suspect X by Keigo Higashino. It's a Japanese author, and this was recently made into a Netflix movie called Jane Jan, with starring Kareena Kapoor, then Aluwalia, and Vijay Verma. Okay, but what I have not personally watched the movie, so I can't comment on this. But what I can comment on this book is something that every crime thriller lover should have in their library. Okay, this book will not only tug or keep you on an edge of a seat thriller. The characters are perfectly etched out. The scenarios are very real. You can feel as if you're traveling the bylanes of Tokyo. Okay, you can actually connect with the Japanese culture. Yes, Japanese have a very old culture, and they are still maintaining it. That is one point we really have to think about it. So they are really maintaining it, and this book explains or explores every little facet of the Japanese culture, right from the day where they, the terms or the exact landscape, the nightclubs, everything is very detailed in description. But what struck me with this book is the last paragraph. So, see, one is a maths professor. Okay, he falls in love. Okay, he falls in love with a woman who has moved to his next door. The mother is actually running from her past of her divorced husband, who's an abusive guy, and she has a daughter, right? Force or fate, what you can call it, force has or fate has it that the husband gets murdered. So he undertakes on himself to make sure that woman is exonerated. So the case is quite baffling. Okay, the details are quite played off. The case is quite baffling. The plot and the character sketches, the scenarios are really well thought out, and I can say it's a very tight thriller. I can say it's a very tight thriller, and the characters have their own what you can say, the vulnerabilities. That would be the right word. The characters have their own vulnerabilities, but this book is worth a read. What struck me or what stayed with me after this book was the last chapter, right? So the case is transferred to the professor's friend, Okay, and he comes and discuss the cases with him. The case with him without knowing that he's a part of the conspiracy. I want to say a conspiracy. I would say it is a what do you say? A freedom. He has given freedom to the woman who has been oppressed by a greedy alcoholic and an abusive partner, who after long divorced is kind of a dark shadow. Okay, so he comes and discusses the case with him. The way he uncovers the clues, and he tries to put one plus one together, it's quite thought of, and it's quite what you can say, it's very well edged. The right word is the characters or the plot and the ploy is very well edged. What struck me was the last two paragraphs of this novel. So let me just share it with you here. Okay. I know you wanted us to be happy, but that's impossible. I should pay for what I did too. I'm to blame too. I'll take the blame with you, Mr. Ishigami. That's the only thing I can do for you. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so very, very sorry. Yasuko crouched with both hands on the floor, her head resting against the tiles. Ishigami stepped backwards, shaking his head convulsively. His features were twisted with pain. Then he whirled around, pressing his fist to his temples, and howled, a long, roaring howl like that of a beast. A cry of confusion and desperation. A cry that tore at the hearts of all who heard it. Two guards ran over to restrain him. Leave him alone, Yukawa barked, appeared in between them and Ishigami. The least you can do is just let him cry. Yukawa turned toward Ishigami, laying his hand gently on the bigger man's shoulders. Kusanagi watched as Ishigami screamed. It seemed to him as if the mathematician was shouting shouting out his very own soul. See, he doesn't interact, there's no regular romance type of thing, but the devotion, the love he has for the mother and the daughter, he wants them to make their own. So he goes to any length as to take the blame for the murder that happened. But at last, unable to take the burden of the murder and the loss of the daughter, the mother Yasuko goes and she surrenders herself. So he has taken the blame. He's been taken. When he comes to face, he puts 1 plus 1 to 2 together, and that is where a man has hugely broken. A man with an unquestionable and what you can say is, he is not expecting this devotion, his love for that person is brought out very beautifully in that frame, in those lines. Definitely you can feel, as you read the book, you can feel the angst of Ishigami, why he had actually roared his heart out in the end, because he sacrificed, or rather he played out events to make sure that his woman, the woman he loved from afar, the woman whom he couldn't pluck the courage to say I love you, is safe. She is happy. She has to get a chance at her life. But the loss of her daughter had played too much on the woman's psyche, and she said no. So what you don't call it if it is not love, right? You can call it like that. And this is one thing that really had book to me. I'll share the book's names again. It is The Devotion of Suspect X by Keigo Higashino. Sorry, I'm quite crude with the Japanese names. So definitely, for all the bibliophiles out there and the people who love a good murder mystery, please do have it in your collection, and this is one of the books that you should definitely have it if you're a fan of crime thrillers. So I'll meet you next time with another interesting book and a tidbit and a snippet of what this book I had got from this book and what this book was trying to tell me at the least. So let's meet next time in another episode of Sassy Mommy.